It is Tuesday, June 10th. Welcome back to the Damon Brew Show, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches and our good friends at the Dubliner West Portal as well. It is great to have you here. It's been a while since we've just been able to hang out at 11 a.m. West Coast time and do our little thing together. We got a lot to talk about today, starting with the fact that it is a gray, overcast, drizzly, kind of rainy day here in the city of San Francisco, and hopefully down in Santa Clara, they have a little bit better weather to crank up the 49er machine under, because today, in many ways, is like the first day of football season. Now, we're still a long ways away from playing games, but today's the day that matters. 24 NFL teams are opening up mandatory minicamp this afternoon on the East Coast and in the Midwest. It's already happened. I know the Niners are on the field, if not now, very, very soon. They're going to be back on the field again tomorrow with a mandatory minicamp. Veterans have reported. And, for most of the roster, this is their first day of the year. Now, official training camp opens next month. But this is that, all right, coaches are going to see you for the first time. You're high-fiving teammates for the first time. It's more than just rookies and off-the-street guys down there running around. It is the entire team assembling and saying hello again to each other. And it's an important day. Again, it's the first step in the incredibly long journey that is every single NFL season. So, big day today. It's a big day for veterans to start setting tones that matter. And when you think about the tone that matters, the guys who set that tone are Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Bosa, Fred Warner. I don't know. I don't even list Trent Williams among the symbolic or vocal leaders. It feels like he's a mercenary who's just paid for game days now. That's fine. He's still great on game day. But, that guy turns around and says, is there anything more for me every single time I'm looking up? So I don't know if that's the tone setter you want, but it's certainly a guy who you want out there and making sure everybody is ready to go. Because if Trent's out here, shit matters. Look, Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing, I think the next 6 weeks are very, very important for the success of this upcoming season for them. Getting in rhythm with Brock Purdy, getting ready to go, making sure that they're at the top of the depth chart, and there will be battles. There will be guys looking to take snaps away from them all season long, and those are two guys who mean so much, I think, to the success of this season. The two of them arriving as we're ready to play and contribute wide receivers changes the entire equation for the San Francisco 49ers in an upcoming year where, again, if you want to have muted expectations, you go right ahead. Super Bowl or bust. Put it on the table right now. If that ain't the goal, why even start the mission? So let's go. Let's go. I do love this time of year. I'm actually going to tell you right now that Wednesday's show will not be starting at 11 a.m. West Coast because I am going to get down to training camp tomorrow, put my eyes on this team, and report back a little bit later in the afternoon, everything we think I saw that you need to know about. And so looking forward to that. Always good to, shake some hands and kiss some babies around the team. And so that's what's going to be happening tomorrow. It's interesting to see what's happening today as far as the 49ers go, because there are two options, the last chance to sign what you really hope to be an impactful player, because those guys are just not hanging off of tree limbs this time of the year. They're not. There are two cornerbacks that I think the 49ers owe themselves a look at. Now, I know I'm going to say one of these names, and you're going to say, head case, he's a little bit washed. The other guy, a little bit injured. And that's a big part of the reason why the Packers are moving on. And again, when the Packers move on from a guy, the 49ers do not want the next Devontae Campbell. That was obviously terrible. Jalen Ramsey is all out of love in Miami, and it seems like they're all out of love with him. And this corner is probably at the end of his career, no doubt about it. He's got a $24 million cap hit. But guess who's under the cap? It's the 49ers. Obviously, Jair Alexander. Again, are either one of these guys a good financial decision to be making right now? Probably not. You don't want to get into a multi-year deal with either of these guys, but you can also finagle contracts around bringing them in for a year and then having a big goodbye when that's all said and done. Neither is a good move financially. I will agree with you there. Neither is the perfect player. But both of those guys, like, this is undebatable. Like, you can talk about what's left in Jair Alexander or what is left in a guy like Jalen Ramsey, but what is left in them is definitely more than when you get past your starters in this depth chart. Like Jair Alexander or Jalen Ramsey, if they were a 49er on the field today, would be no further away from your third best corner, for sure. Like, for sure. So Renardo Green and Diamador Lenore are your starters. And I got no problem. I'm really excited to see what Renardo Green's sophomore season looks like. Diamador Lenore, I think, is a guy who is making the leap in real time right in front of our eyes. He's going to be a hell of a player, having a hell of a year this year. That's what the Niners are banking on, too. After that, it's Trey Brown, Trey Avery, Chase Lucas, Darrell Luter Jr., and Dallas Flowers. Like, who? Who? Now, one of those guys might emerge. One of those guys might be a huge surprise. I doubt any of those guys are about to have a better year for the Niners than if they spend an awful lot of money signing Jair Alexander or Jalen Ramsey. I mean, again, it ain't perfect. But here it is. It's a shot to add one more impactful player. And all I'm going to say, if I don't like the 49ers corner depth right now, if I don't like that right now, what happens if Lenore gets hurt? What happens if Green goes down with an injury? What happens if right now listed as your starting nickel corner is diminutive rookie Upton Stout? What happens if it just turns out he's not ready to go out and make a big impact during his rookie year, right? You know, Saran Neal, Derek Canteen, either of those names got, okay, so the rest of the season is on one of those two guys. You feel good about that? A little bit more depth is what I'd be looking at. Joe Schmo, Asante Samuel, give him a call. Absolutely give him a call. Oh, someone, sip of the day. Joe, I just realized because you put sip of the day into the chat, I left my freaking coffee upstairs. We're just gonna have to soldier on. I'm just gonna have to get through it. I might even have to just worst case scenario. It's really not a worst case scenario. Anyway, it is awesome to have you here today. Hit like and subscribe if you would, please. That makes the algorithm grow, my good friends. Again, the last chance to get a massive impact player. Maybe massive impact is a bit of an exaggeration for either of those guys, but someone who could play and you could depend on. I think the 49ers owe it to themselves to take a look. We'll talk about taking a look at Terry McLaurin, a possible trade there in just a second. But very first, let me tell you, my man Ike is serving up delicious sandwiches. If you got a graduation party coming up, check out Ike's Catering for your graduation party. If you're not signed up already for the Love Rewards program, when you do so, you get a free sandwich. So there's an incentive to do it. Then you start earning your way to more free sandwiches, chips, drinks, all those things. Man, I hope one of Ike's nearly 130 locations is now around you. And if not, maybe it's time for you to consider a move closer to Ike's. But hopefully he grows so quickly that he'll be getting to your neighborhood soon enough, no matter where your neighborhood is. I know he just opened another store in Arizona. Expanding ever eastward is the empire. So my man Ike, cheers to him as always. And thank you for picking up a tasty sandwich at Ike's today. Again, have you checked out the Jeremy Roenick? Look at that. Jeremy Roenick is now a sandwich at Ike's. Delicious. All right. Very, very sexy. Thank you so much. Speaking of sexy, here's what I love about the Dubliner. It ain't sexy. It's not trying to be sexy. It's just a great bar. It's certainly not a place for a whole bunch of touristy douchebags to hang out. It's locals, baby. It's people who live in San Francisco, who are San Francisco. You get to the Dubliner and West Portal, you walk in there, you're going to be like, all right, I get it. Perfect. It's a great bar. Go say hi to Kenny and John for me. Thank them for supporting the Blues. Tell them that the Blues sent you. They love seeing you at the Dubliner West Portal. Get there as soon as you can. So there is another name that is kind of floating around the San Francisco 49ers, and that's because there's a connection that's easy to see. So Terry McLaurin, who has been a incredibly successful wide receiver for the Washington Commanders, is one of those guys who is not showing up at his mandatory minicamp today. He is holding out for a new contract, and it seems like there is a frosty relationship brewing between the Commanders and Terry McLaurin. I think that's pretty stupid. Like, I have no idea why the Washington Commanders are trying to play this guy in any way, shape, or form. He's a drama-free, legit number one wide receiver who just had an awful lot of kismet with a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels. I wouldn't be breaking that up. Hey, Jaden, guess what's happening? In your second year, even though you're on your rookie contract still, we've decided to take away your favorite target and 13 touchdowns from last season by getting rid of Terry McLaurin. Like, why? Why would they do it? Doesn't make any sense to me. Again, you got a quarterback on your rookie deal. You can overpay a wide receiver on a short contract, and it all comes out nice and even in the wash. I don't know what the Commanders are doing. In each of the last 5 seasons, only 4 guys have posted consecutive 1,000-yard seasons in each year. It's McLaurin, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Mike Evans. You know, that is really good company to be keeping if you're a wide receiver in this league. This guy's consistent as hell. Now, had, 2-3 more first downs been caught by Tyreek Hill, he would have been in that conversation too. But for the first time in a long time, Tyreek Hill was held to 900 and change last year. But Tyreek Hill comes with all sorts of questions about him, like not a guy you might want to trade for based on who he is and what he's done, how he treats women. Nothing like that is part of the Terry McLaurin conversation. He's a really good player who makes no noise right up into this moment of his career. Now, I would have said the exact same description fit Brandon Ayuk. Really good player who made no noise right up until the point in his career where he made an awful lot of noise around his contract, which he got. And this just is why I think a lot of people have had it with Brandon Ayuk right now. Like, why are you upset? You got what you asked for. And then due to injury, you're the one who can't fulfill the end of the bargain. It's not the Niners who are not fulfilling the end of the bargain right now. It's you. So why would you complain? Why would you get your panties in a bunch on the internet just because? It just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all. So, pardon me, as there's a little frostiness developing in Washington and some frostiness reemerging between the 49ers and Ayuk, there is the Debo connection. There is the Arizona State connection between Daniels and Ayuk. There is the Adam Peters connection. There are a lot of touch points between these two franchises that if something were to happen, maybe this would happen. Again, why, trying to go back to the playoffs, Washington would want to bring in a player who is rehabbing an ACL, MCL, PCL, all CL injuries? I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense for Washington to do this deal, which means, should it actually be out there, I think the 49ers should do it because it makes a lot of sense for them. Kind of projecting here. There's no real rumbling. The conversations are even happening. This is only conjecture and innuendo and the internet doing the talking for everybody, but maybe there is something there. Maybe, just maybe, there's something there to explore. Got Joe Sullivan. Said, DB, just grabbed an Ike Sando at the new location in Santa Rosa. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Well, all I know about Joe is he's going to have a great lunch today. Enjoy, Joe. What sandwich did you get? Chow says, Damon, what's your thoughts about Brandon Ayuk not being happy about Brock Purdy to support him? Dude, what are you talking about? I don't care what Brandon Ayuk is or isn't happy about. He got his money. No billboards need to be erected for you. No campaign, no verbal, Brock Purdy was right to stay out of that conversation in real time, and he's right to stay out of it right now. Like, you got an agent, Brandon Ayuk. That's the guy that's going to get you your contract. And, oh, by the way, he got you your contract. How can I support you if you've got what you want? Where was Brandon Ayuk's? Congratulations, Brock. You got paid like the quality quarterback you are. I didn't see that either. Here's what I don't give a fuck about. It's players' Instagrams accounts or who they're trying to stroke off on social media. I don't care. That is performative nonsense to me. Most of the time, I mean, sometimes I do on social media wish a friend of mine happy birthday, but I'm not wishing happy birthday to you on social media, most likely, if I actually have your phone number in my phone. There's a difference between your friends on the internet and your friends for real. Like, there's a lot of people who I'm going to tell you I have a genuine online friendship with. But I don't have your phone number in my phone, which means, how tight of friends are we really? We've never met in so many instances. Now, of course, this goes for nobody in the chat right now. We are all one little cool community that we've built together. Unfortunately, I don't have many of your phone numbers in my phone. Some of you, I do. Now, again, if I'm really your friend, I'm going to privately, so I do it for my mom because the Duchess is on Facebook, and I know that this is, people. My mom likes to look good on Facebook because that is how she gathers with her community of friends at her age. So I will wish her like a public happy birthdaying, but there was never a happy birthday to my dad because my dad wasn't even on social media. Happy birthday, dad. I think I'm just going to call him instead of wishing it to him. Like my wife. You don't see me penning like opuses about Jillian, darling, love of my life, happy anniversary, and happy birthday, and happy Arbor Day, and happy Groundhog's Day, and happy Valentine's Day, and happy everything day. Because if I really want to wish her those things, I do it in person. I don't need to like public display it so everyone goes, oh, don't you care about your wife? Don't you care about your partner? Don't you care about your loved one? Like, that's all performative to me. So, if I'm the kind of guy who really doesn't give a shit about getting a happy birthday or not on social media, I don't care whether or not somebody's like, oh, is Brandon Ayuk being nice to Brock Purdy or vice versa on social media? Who gives a shit? Throw him a football, catch it, run it into the end zone. That's where the relationship needs to begin, and that's where it can end too, as far as I'm concerned. If everyone gets along great and is good friends, super duper, but who gives a shit? Just go win football games. How about this? Brandon Ayuk could have been an absolute perfect angel, and he could be tweeting, I love my teammates and I love the 49ers every day of the week. But given his current situation right now, I would trade him no matter what declaration of love or positivity he were putting out on social media. This ain't social media. This is real life. This is business. This is, do I get better with you or without you shit? And so I don't care about that nonsense the way that some people do. Red Jet just saying, I don't have Facebook anymore. Thank the Lord. There you go. You get Z snaps for that. I mean, yeah, yeah. Happy birthday, Mom. How about go and spend the day with your mom and get the fuck off social media? Thank you very much, Christopher. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice. Happy Arbor Day. It's kind of nonsense. John Wallace says, yeah, you whined and groaned before you got your money and you acted like that. And then you got your money and then you almost, you get hurt. That's the problem with Brandon Ayuk right now. Again, just get better and get back on the field, and everything's going to be fine. Or if the Commanders are dumb enough to do it, trade this guy for McLaurin. If you can, throw in a pick. If you have to, do it. Do it. What I do kind of like is that when minicamp opens, 24 different teams reporting today for volunteer or mandatory minicamp, is you get a little bit of a drama day. Like you find out where the bad feelings are all around the NFL. And some are very easy to predict, and you knew that, and you've been reading about it, and there's no doubt about it. And it's amazing how often similar franchises, do the same thing over and over again. This is why it's wonderful that the 49ers have all of their big contracts already put to bed. That's where an awful lot of last year's preseason drama came from. And because it's non-existent now outside of Brandon Ayuk and his Instagram account, there hasn't been a drop in negativity around the San Francisco 49ers. There are always drops in negativity around the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals get all sorts of short alligator arms around paying guys throughout the history of the franchise. Trey Hendrickson is holding out of Cincinnati, but of course he is. He's been telling us he is going to. This guy says he has no intention of playing the final year of his contract for Cincinnati. He wants an extension or he wants a trade. By the way, so knowing that was going to happen, the Bengals drafted Shamar Stewart, right? This rookie is holding out right now, not reporting, earning big fines because, look, Shamar Stewart's already a disaster of a pick. He hasn't been out and played or practiced a single snap with his teammates, not yet. Because he doesn't like the language in his rookie deal. The rookie deal is the rookie deal. There's not a lot of language, goofing around your agent can do with it. It's pretty boilerplate. So the Bengals, right on track to be a disaster somehow, some way. And, no matter what Joe Burrow is doing to make them better, there's always somebody in Cincinnati's front office working twice as hard to make it worse. We already talked about Jalen Ramsey, and look, the Dolphins have had it with him. Mike McDaniel's had it with him. They want him out. They want him gone. So, again, maybe pennies on the dollar to trade for that guy. I don't know. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers that are having a little discontent. And there's not a lot of discontent usually in Pittsburgh. And what's amazing is that Aaron Rodgers is now a Steeler, and this has nothing to do with him. The distraction is not Aaron Rodgers, not yet anyways. TJ Watt isn't at mandatory camp. Now, ESPN reported that Watt last signed, not last season, but he last signed a 4-year, $112 million deal in 2021 that averaged $28 million per year. Well, then you got Myles Garrett resetting the pass rusher market just 3 months ago, and he gets $123.5 million in guaranteed money, with nearly $40 million being the annual average value. And TJ Watt is saying, hey, guess what? I got more sacks than that guy. 5.5 more sacks than Myles Garrett, the sixth most among active NFL players. TJ Watt is a wrecking crew, one man by himself. It's a 4-time All-Pro. He was the Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. He spent his entire career with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a career that is now an 8-year-long career. And this is the problem, TJ. You're getting a little long in the tooth. And honestly, when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and you look at that defense and you say to yourself, well, they're already paying an awful lot of money for that defense. Do we want to go up to $40 million on one player who's good for, look, 1 or 2 sacks a game is a big deal, but are you winning with 1 or 2 sacks a game from TJ Watt? Can you take that $40 million and spread it around your roster elsewhere and have a very good defense still and improve in other areas? Hard choices. When a really good player reaches his early 30s, getting that third contract is a very hard thing to do from one NFL team. This is what makes what the 49ers did with George Kittle a special declaration of love and trust and commitment, and also very much a gamble. Kittle was awesome last year. He had one of the best years of his career, but he's at that age where it's going to fall like this when it starts falling. Look at Travis Kelce's year last year. Travis Kelce. Then boop, Travis Kelce. When it goes, it goes. It goes quickly. It goes in your early 30s, usually. So getting that third contract is a tough thing to do. It'll be interesting to see how the Steelers handle that. It really will. Again, I am heading down to Santa Clara tomorrow, so we won't be having a normal 11 o'clock show. We'll be doing it a little bit later in the afternoon. Maybe we'll do it right down there from Santa Clara in the parking lot. So that's what's going on tomorrow. Again, great to see so many regulars, so many good folks here in the chat. Nearly 150 people in the room, and we only have 43 likes. Only 43 likes? I mean, what am I supposed to hit that like button for you? That's up to you to do, my good friends. It's free. Go ahead, like, subscribe, think about membership, think about merch. Get ready for the upcoming football season. I know I'm getting ready. We're going to be on a little bit of a vacation track over the next week. There's going to be some choppiness in the shows over the next couple of weeks, but we will be posting videos and making things happen. So hit notify as well too, please. And that way you won't miss a thing whenever we go live here on the Plus. A few other things to certainly talk about today, with NFL always dominating what we're thinking about because it is the king of the land. Have you seen the West Sacramento A's have announced a groundbreaking in Las Vegas? Here it comes. They're going to build a stadium on the Strip, everybody. I still got to file under believe it when I see it. And just to prove to you that there is literally nothing that this franchise cannot screw up, they're doing it on June 23rd, Monday, June 23rd at 8 a.m. When I think of great hours in which to do shit in Las Vegas, 8 a.m. is never one of them. A lot of people, after I've made this point on Twitter, saying that, of course the A's would screw up even their own groundbreaking ceremony by scheduling it at the wrong time. People will say, well, Damon, it gets so hot that they got to do it at 8 a.m. If you have to have a groundbreaking at 8 a.m., how are you going to have a 105 first pitch? If it's so hot at 8:30 in the morning, oh, well, Damon, it's going to be indoors and it's going to be air conditioned. Again, baseball in a dome sucks. It's why building a dome to put your baseball team in is not good. Baseball's an outdoor sport, not an indoor sport. So, screw you guys for all of that. My good friend DJ E-Rock, who's a Vegas guy, he's a Bay Area guy too. And he just said, dude, 8 a.m. You know how hot it gets out here? And I just said, would you guys run out at 8 p.m.s? Like, I know how hot it is in the middle of the day in Las Vegas. I'm very familiar with that. I get it. There's this other 8 o'clock. It's called 8 o'clock at night. Guess what 8 o'clock at night also comes with? Spectacle. Comes with lights. Could come with showgirls. Could turn this into a little bit of a show. But you know what that also comes with? And this is really why they're doing it at 8 a.m. They're not doing it at 8 a.m. to start the news day. They're not doing it at 8 a.m. to save anybody the task of standing in the hot Vegas atmosphere. They're not doing this because there's more shade at 8 a.m. They're not doing this at 8 a.m. because 8 a.m. is the right time to do it. They're doing it at 8 a.m. because it's the cheapest time to do it. I'm sure fewer people in the media who are content creators, whatever. Fewer people in the media will ask to be credentialed to a thing that's going off at 8 o'clock in the morning, which means they don't have to put out as many folding chairs, which means it'll be cheaper for John Fisher and the A's to pull off a groundbreaking ceremony. Certainly a lot cheaper than doing it in the night with lights and showgirls and spectacle. All that comes with a price tag. There will be folding chairs and a fucking shovel at 8 a.m., I'm guessing is what you're going to be looking at for that A's groundbreaking ceremony, if it even happens at all. Will they reschedule their groundbreaking ceremony is one of my questions. And again, you're moving to Vegas. You're moving to Las Vegas, and what you're telling me is that you have no idea how the town works at the very same time. Vegas is about spectacle. Vegas is about illusion. Vegas is about taking something that is just a bottle of Voss water, but being able to sell it to you for $38 because being in this club is so special and you feel so special for being in here, you're going to buy a $38 bottled water, you rube. That's what Vegas is all about. So, way to join a community which in your very first official act in the community, you're telling the community, we have no idea how this community operates or what really matters around here. I remember when the Raiders did their groundbreaking at Allegiant Stadium, that came with fireworks. Like that came with a bit of spectacle. This one happens at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you can probably attend that and still get to McDonald's before they stop serving breakfast. Congratulations, City of Las Vegas. Again, there have been so many clear as day warnings to the City of Las Vegas. Don't do business with John Fisher. Don't do business with John Fisher. You're running to do business with John Fisher, which means you are running into your own demise. John Fisher will ruin Las Vegas as a baseball town just as quickly as he ruined, well, it took 20 years to ruin, I guess, Oakland. It's taken about 25 home games to ruin Sacramento as a major league city forever now. West Sacramento, your foray into John Fisherville means you will never be a major league baseball town. That's how bad it's gone. So, have fun with that and good luck with that. And you deserve everything you get that comes with it. Someone's like, oh, B, sitting in an air-conditioned stadium with the biggest glass window. I promise you, when that stadium's built, that biggest glass window, sliding glass window in the world will not be what it's built as right now. It won't be. Or even if they do build it, it's going to be so smudgy and they won't spend the money to clean it. And it's going to, whatever you think you are getting in that stadium, watch it be less than. Every single choice when it comes to a financial decision, they're going to choose less than. First class tickets will not be purchased when all of these rows and coach are available. And that's how John Fisher lives. Enjoy. Enjoy. Yeah, $38 for water. I'm going to jump off the Hoover Dam before that. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts. Fisher just wants to tell strippers he's got a team. I guarantee you John Fisher is terrible tipping in a strip club as well. It's just always pathetic. And Sporticus, you're right. The A's thinking cheap's work in Vegas is metaphorically priceless. It really is. Habes, you're right. It's just whenever there is a chance to do something, let's not even call it the right way, but just to do something the medium way or to do something the less than way, the A's choose the less than way. I can't remember the column that actually showed the price point of the metal work shed that they set up for interviews to happen up in West Sacramento. And somebody put the link that it was the least expensive shed at Home Depot. Like they wouldn't even style out their press conference shed. Which one should we get? The cheapest. And that's how the A's operate. Fuji Simeon says Oakland should follow Cleveland when the Browns left for Baltimore, sue to keep the name Athletics from Fisher if MLB ever comes back to the Bay. They can't. They've already blown that. He was able to take it to Sacramento, so they have screwed that up. Again, there's a lot of mistakes being made on Oakland's side, too. This would have happened, by the way, if Major League Baseball had a commissioner with a spine, but they don't have one of those, Fuji Simeon. And thanks again, Fuji, for another tip into the ganja jar, saying, will they really sell out 81 home games in Las Vegas? Of course not. Of course not. The A's can't put 10,000 people in a seat in a town that's got nothing else going on. Look, West Sacramento, I'm not ripping on you. You ain't got shit to do, which means 12,000 people a night probably are going to make it over to a major league game happening in a minor league ballpark. Nope. No. Nope. So there's no crowd that is ever guaranteed to come along with the A's as long as John Fisher is around. Look at what happened with the Washington Commanders. The minute Daniel Snyder was out, not only did they start winning, but people started wanting to root for them again. John Fisher is holding the A's back of their success or their interest. Not the team, not the town of Sacramento, wasn't the city of Oakland that was ruining things. It's always John Fisher. So have fun with that in your 8 a.m. groundbreaking. I promise you, if you attend that groundbreaking, you're not even going to get an Egg McMuffin. You might get a folding chair. There will not be shade. No coffee. No tea. Nothing. I bet it comes with a big scoop of nothing. Remember when they broke ground on Chase Center? They had Kevin Durant out there, and you had dancing cranes and 1,000 basketballs being dropped out of cranes, and it was spectacle. No, not the A's. Okay. All right. Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Coming up on Wednesday night, the series is shifting to Indianapolis. And look, as somebody who spent a lot of time in the state of Indiana, it's where I went to college, I've never rooted for the Pacers, but this means so much to those fans. Basketball in Indiana means as much as, gay rights in San Francisco. Like, it's actually, no, basketball means a lot more than anything that happens in, like, conservation, gay rights, clean air, water, anything. Like, no, basketball means more in Indiana than most people's mothers' love mean to them. It's just, I can't explain it. You've either been there and you get it or you don't. Now, the Pacers have never been more than like the 6th most popular team in the state of Indiana. But it's basketball, and it's the NBA Finals. And that place is going to be a madhouse. There's no doubt about it. The Pacers did the job in game 1. They guaranteed splitting those first 2 games in Oklahoma City with that game 1 win and another Tyrese Halliburton buzzer beater that was incredible. Game 2 was all Oklahoma City. And game 2 was so all Oklahoma City that people started turning that game off, or they were thinking about turning the game on. They checked the score on social media or their app, and they were like, nah, there's really nothing to tune into. Well, if you did miss that game, and apparently most of you did, what you missed was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having yet another moment that is one of the least covered greatest basketball seasons of all time that any individual player has ever had, and what it's done for the team that he's playing for. Not even 9 million people tuned in to game 2 of the NBA Finals. Not even 9 million, like 8.7 something is what game 2 of the NBA Finals got, for Christ's sakes. It's terrible. It is, it's a decline of nearly 30% over game 2 between Mavs and Celtics just a year ago. It's the least watched game 2 since Heat Lakers in the bubble. And on that night, it was the exact same night in the bubble that Trump actually got diagnosed with COVID. So an awful lot of people were paying attention to, a major news story as it was breaking in real time. And this was still in the what is COVID phase, It was weird. So there were a million things going on bubble-wise that made people not want to watch. Then you had this massive news story, and this was the worst watched game 2 since then. Now, I didn't care about any of that because I like great basketball. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right now is playing great basketball in game 2, while the Thunder were just rolling. And by the way, gentleman's sweep is still out there. Pacers winning game 1 makes my Thunder in 5 prediction shakier to stand by, but it's still tracking. It's going to be tough for the Thunder to win 2 games in Indy, for sure. Like I said, the place is going to be a buzzsaw. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in game 2 joined Rick Barry, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James with back-to-back NBA Finals games of 30 points and 3 or more steals. Those are the 3 players of all time. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has put himself on a couple of lists that you probably don't know about. Again, because this is the rare MVP season that wasn't covered. The Jokic MVP seasons, didn't nearly get the headlines splash and attached to it that other sexier players got. But the should Jokic be the MVP debate at least got him into the conversation. It doesn't feel like Shai's unbelievable season has been able to muscle him into the conversation. Here are the list of players in NBA history to combine for at least 3,000 points, 600 assists, 150 steals, and 80 blocks in a season. This includes the regular season and the playoffs. Michael Jordan in 1991-92, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in 2024-25, and that's it. That's it. Now, if it's not impressive to be the only other guy on a list of NBA overall excellence with Michael Jordan, there's also this. Players in NBA history to score 30 or more points in 9 straight home playoff games. Wilt Chamberlain, from 1961 to 1964, took a couple of, they didn't have nearly as many rounds, so, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right now, and that's it. That's the list. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has had a regular season, postseason combination of excellence that has Michael Jordan is the only other human who has ever done it. And beyond that, when it comes to all of these consecutive great scoring output games in the playoffs and in the postseason, he's on a list with Wilt Chamberlain, and that's it. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander were a New York Knick, everything he did would be covered with the same, granular diagnostics that come with Zapruder film. Everything. You'd be sick of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like you think you got sick of Jalen Brunson this year? If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander were a freaking New York Knick, you'd be over it. But because he's in Oklahoma City, one of the single greatest years any player has ever had has hardly even been discussed or mentioned. And you got people flocking away from a lopsided finals game. And what you missed was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in game 2 having, like an 18-minute stretch where he was the best player of the decade. He was unstoppable. Whatever the Pacers counter move was, he had a double counter move for it. Whatever they tried to do, he took what they were trying to do away from them, and he still did it, or he found it another way to do. I mean, the guy is just having a remarkable year. And then so is Tyrese Halliburton. But Tyrese Halliburton doesn't nearly have the consistency the way that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does. Gilgeous-Alexander does not have a bad game. It's just that simple. Halliburton every now and then does. NBA Finals continues Wednesday night. I'm all about it. San Francisco Giants, Coors Field, Colorado Rockies, keep winning baseball. What are they won? 5 in a row? That's good for the Giants. Wait, you know what? Hold on. Did they play yesterday? Let me just check real quick here. Yeah. Hold on. Hold your horses. Hold your horse. That's right. Yeah. So it's today. They're in Colorado. They swept the Braves. They took they split with the Padres. They've won 5 in a row and pull into Coors Field at 5:40 this afternoon. So this is an awful lot of good baseball happening. Will they be able to continue the good baseball? Matt Chapman's going to the IL. That's not good for business. That takes away the best glove in baseball, maybe, and a bat that you can depend on. The guy just won a game with a walk-off, the first of his career with the San Francisco Giants, so that ain't good. But it is the Colorado Rockies. So, like me, Otis, 510 Steve, Sporticus, Michelle Haberman, Red Jet, Chef A, the Rod Father, and San Bruno Mike should be able to go out and beat the Colorado Rockies. Like, that's how bad they are. Good to see y'all. Always good to see you. Oklahoma City has more first-round picks than Fisher has rings. Yeah. Unless you're counting rings around his collar. I'm sure he's got plenty of those. He looks like a heavy sweater, and the guy doesn't pay for an awful lot of dry cleaning. That's what I hate about billionaires. They don't even dry clean their shirts. They just throw them out and buy new ones. Actually, I bet you Fisher is even too cheap to do that. I bet you he's a wash and fold guy. Zothmus is good to DH, by the way. Grab a bat, kid. Get in the batter's box. James, I got cut. Sorry, we DFA'd you, James. Didn't make it. It was lopsided enough to where a lot of people probably stopped watching Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, but if you did, you missed a whole bunch of fights and hootenannies going on in the third period. The Florida Panthers pulled out the whooping stick and beat up Edmonton, and when they were done beating up Edmonton, they physically beat up Edmonton. And there was a little girl being interviewed in the concourse after the Florida Panthers won. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old. And they asked her, "What'd you like so much about tonight's game?" She said, "The fights. I like when they fight." Kids are all right. The kids are all right. They really, really are. Love that. I like when they fight. Her father's doing a great job. All right. So, are you ready for a little history lesson here today? Again, it's been great seeing y'all today. We count these shows at all times. We are 2 11 o'clock shows away from our 500th 11 o'clock show here on the West Coast, getting together for this little live plusing that we do, brought to you by our good friend Ike Sandwiches. It hasn't been every show that we've done. But lately, we dive into today in history. And when I say we dive into it today, a lot of big nautical things happened today in history. So let's hop in. First of all, we always start with happy birthdays, and happy 33rd birthday to Mrs. Verlander, or as she's commonly known, Kate Upton. Kate Upton turns 33 years old today. Another, I'll tell you, it's a day for beautiful women to have been born. Kate Upton at 33, happy birthday to her. Elizabeth Hurley is 60. Elizabeth Hurley is throwing down one of the all-time gorgeous in every decade of my life lives we've ever seen. So congratulations to Elizabeth Hurley. When you're born that pretty, and then when you marry that rich, you can stay beautiful forever, apparently. Gina Gershon is 63 years old. Gina Gershon was that smoky-eyed brunette, very sexy Gina Gershon, 63. One of my favorite comedians in the world today turns 57 years old. Bill Burr is 57 years old today. That guy's brilliant. I love Bill Burr. So happy birthday all around. John R. Who the fuck is Elizabeth Hurley? Austin Powers, dude. Austin Powers. Come on. What do you mean, who's Elizabeth Hurley? Have you not been a heterosexual male for the last 2 decades? Who's Elizabeth Hurley? How'd she sneak past you? Okay. We're going to go back in time for this one. It was rough in Salem for questionable women. In 1692, a woman named Bridget Bishop was hung at the Gallows Hill in Salem, Massachusetts for detestable arts of witchcraft and sorcery. This was the height and the crescendo of the Salem witch trials. And as you all know, if you're a fan of Monty Python, if she weighs more than a duck, she's a witch. It's just that simple. Today in 1809, I told you it was a big day in the Nautical Arts Day. The first steamboat to ever navigate the open seas, the Phoenix with a paddle wheel, took 13 days to sail from New York City to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but we were underway with steamboats on the open water today in 1809. Today in 1829, just 20 years later, with no steam, student-powered boat racing, the very first boat race occurred between the University of Oxford and the University of Cambridge. Oxford won. And Oxford, Cambridge rowing is, very famous, still happens. Don't invite the Winklevoss twins, though. They ain't going to get it done. Another Fuji Simeon here. When having moldy bread at home labels you a witch. Exactly. I mean, they were using very, very scientific things to determine who is a witch. Does she float? She's a witch. I mean, in water. Like, they wouldn't even let a girl float in water without being a witch. They were a little weird back then in Salem. Let's see. Oh, another big nautical event today in 1854. The very first class of the United States Naval Academy students graduated. Today in 1854. Congratulations, naval graduates. It is that graduating time of year. Again, Jillian and I are taking the kids down to San Diego for a family member who's graduating from USD this weekend. And by the way, Natasha rowed at USD. So there's another nautical story. Congratulations, Natasha, on your graduation. You were very good in the water as well, too, apparently rowing. We're going to be at Legoland with the boys on Monday next week. And, dude, Jack and Ozzy are going to go bonkers at Legoland. They're at the perfect age for it, I hear. Today, in 1943, Laszlo Biro filed a patent in Britain for a practical ballpoint pen with quick drying ink. In 1943, what were we using, like quills before then? Was that it? We were just all quilled up. Did you have the big fancy ceremonial quill for everything like the 49ers do when they sign free agents and guys to new contracts? They get the big red quill out. Thank God for a ballpoint pen. I mean, I would be, if you told me I had to go with like dipping pens in inkwells to write, I would have been Johnny Pencil. There's no way I would have dealt with all that bullshit. So thank you, Laszlo Biro, for giving us the ballpoint pen today in 1943. Today in 1944, a 15-year-old Joe Nuxhall of the Cincinnati Reds became the youngest player ever in a Major League Baseball game. Can you imagine a 15-year-old kid playing Major League Baseball? I guess you didn't hit puberty as early in 1944, and a 15-year-old Joey Nuxhall could get away with it. But that's incredible, right? 1944, there was a 15-year-old out there playing for the Reds. As you know, in order to maintain a level of historical decorum, and knowing that I would go down way too many rabbit holes if we listed all the songs that were number one on any day or all the movies that came out on any given day. But I got to tell you, today in 1983, Trading Places came out. Gotta love Trading Places. Octopussy also came out today in 1983. I love both movies. Octopussy is possibly the worst, greatest Bond movie there is, or the greatest, worst Bond movie there is. James Bond at its campiest with Roger Moore. I mean, they called it Octopussy, for goodness sakes. And Trading Places, come on. It's a fantastic movie. Every 10 minutes, there is an iconic scene in Trading Places. And you get Jamie Curtis at the height of Jamie Curtis boobs. And I remember that being a seminal moment in the development of my libido in 1983. I'm 8 years old, Jamie Curtis naked in the mirror, and I'm like, I think I'm going to rewind that. 700 rewinds later, the tape's not quite working right anymore. But anyway, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Trading Places. Thank you, Dan Aykroyd. Thank you, Eddie Murphy. Thank you, Don Amici. Mortimer, we're back. There's supposed to be a Trading Places 2 that was launched from that scene in Coming to America, where Prince Akeem gave the two bums on the street all that big stack of cash, and that was going to be the launch point of Trading Places 2, but never happened. Again, we don't get wrapped up into shows beginning or ending, but this one was big enough to officially make the show today. In 2007, tonight, it went black on HBO. The Sopranos series finale ended with a sudden cut to black, total silence, and most of America asked, wait, did the power just go out? But no, the only thing that went dark was your TV. All the lights are on in your house except the TV. So what happened there? Did they end the show that way? In the moment, it was jarring for sure. But then the question became, did you think Tony Soprano was shot, or is he alive at the end? You had to have been a moron to think that Tony Soprano lived through that moment. The first words of the final season are Tony Soprano sitting around talking and asking, I can't remember who it was, the character that he was talking to, what happens when you die? And Tony Soprano says, it just all goes to black. The season starts with Tony Soprano saying, when you die, it just all goes to black. And there's actually a breakdown of that scene that I've seen that shows you the camera angle. The camera angle is a cutaway to the bell ringing door, tracking who's ever walking into the restaurant, cut to Tony Soprano, and then cut to Tony Soprano's point of view. The cut where it all goes to black is the cut that coincides with Tony Soprano's point of view, which means it's over. The guy came out of the men's room and shot him. The only real question is, did Carmela and Meadow, well, no, Meadow was parallel parking. She wasn't even in there yet. And did AJ get it? Did all the Sopranos get cleaned out right there, or was it just Tony? That's the only question. But the question of, did Tony Soprano die in that moment? The answer is an unequivocal, undebatable yes. He was shot and murdered in that moment. Jarring in real time. When you look back at it, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. I like, all I can think of is that Martin Scorsese meme where he's like, cinema. It really was cinema. Happy National Egg Roll Day. I freaking love egg rolls. I like spring rolls. I like delicate, flaky spring rolls. I like thick, beefy, Midwestern, Chinese American, absolutely bought from a Costco, deep fried. Not an actual Chinese person ever touched this egg roll. I love egg rolls. It's why I love lumpia so much. You put anything in a little fried cigar, chances are I'm going to like it. So it is National Egg Roll Day, and I just wanted to share that with you as you consider what you do for dinner tonight. Get yourself some egg rolls in that delivery. But in the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in again. Tomorrow, we are going to be down in Santa Clara during what is normally showtime, so we'll be coming to you a little bit later on in the afternoon. If you set notify, if you like and subscribe right now, you won't miss a thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's always great to see you. Thanks for all the supers, Fuji Simeon, Joe Sullivan. You guys, you're the best. Appreciate all the members, all the regulars. You are my kind of people. Christopher, you get lumpia. So good. It's so good. Can't argue with lumpia. Not ever. It's a winner. Yeah, see, Michelle, give me all the egg rolls. How many do you want? Some of them? No. All of them. Sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.